Las uvas, grapes. Miguel was the only one who could have taken the money orders. No one doubted that. Alfonso apologized to Esperanza, but Mama graciously said that Miguel must have needed the money to get to Northern California. Alfonso promised the money would be paid back one way or another, and Esperanza knew it would be, but she was angry with Miguel. How dare he go into her valise and take what was not his? And after all her hard work. Mama seemed to get a little stronger every day, although she still took many naps. Hortensia was happy that she was eating well, and every day Esperanza brought home just picked fruit to tempt her. A few weeks later, Esperanza stood on the shed dock in the morning and marveled at the peaches, plums, and nectarines that poured into the shed. How will we ever sort them? She asked. Josefina laughed. One piece at a time. It gets done. They started with the small white clingstone peaches and then the larger yellow Albertas. Mama loved the white peaches, so Esperanza set aside a bag for her. Then after lunch, they sorted the flaming gold nectarines. Later that afternoon, they would still have to sort a few bushels of plums. Esperanza loved the elephant ear plums, heart plums, molted green on the inside, outside and blood red on the inside. They were tangy and sweet at the same time. She stood in the midsummer sun during her lunch break and ate one, bent over so the juice wouldn't run down her chin. Josefina called to her, Mira, look, there's Alfonso. What is he doing here? Alfonso was talking to one of the supervisors. He had never left the fields in the middle of the day and come to the sheds. Something must be wrong, said Esperanza. Maybe it is the baby, said Josefina, and she hurried toward him. Esperanza felt the blood drain from her face as she suddenly knew why Alfonso was there. It had to be Mama. The doctor had said she could have a relapse. Something must have happened to her. Esperanza suddenly felt weak, but she kept walking. Is it Mama? No, no, I didn't mean to alarm you, Esperanza, but I need you to come with me. Hortensia is in the truck. But it's so early. It's okay. I talked to the supervisor. She followed him to the truck. Hortensia was waiting inside. We got a message from Miguel, she said. We are to meet him at the bus station in Bakersfield at 3 o'clock. He said he is coming from Los Angeles and that we should bring you. That's all we know. But why why would he want me to come? Asked Esperanza. I can only hope that it's to apologize for its actions, said Hortensia. It was over 100 degrees. Hot wind whipped inside the cab. Esperanza felt the perspiration sliding down her skin beneath her dress. It felt strange to be riding to town on a workday, breaking her routine in the sheds. She kept thinking of all the elephant hearts that the others would have to pack short-handed. Hortensia squeezed her hand. I can't wait to see him, she said. Esperanza offered a tight smile. They arrived at the bus station and sat on a bench in front. The clerks all spoke to one another in English, their hard, sharp words meaning nothing to Esperanza. It always startled her when she heard English, and she hated not knowing what people were saying. Someday she would learn it. She strained to hear an announcement that was made, finally hearing the word she was waiting for, Los Angeles. A silver bus turned the corner and pulled into the bay in front of the station. Esperanza searched through the passengers seated on the bus, but couldn't see Miguel. She and Hortensia and Alfonso stood up and watched everyone get off. And then finally, there was Miguel standing in the doorway of the bus. He looked tired and rumpled, but he saw his parents. He jumped from the steps, grabbing his mother and hugging her, and then his father, clapping him on the back. He looked at Esperanza and smiled. I have brought you proof that things will get better, he said. She looked at him, trying to be angry. She didn't want him to think she was glad to see him. Did you bring back what you have stolen? No, but I brought you something better. Then he turned to help the passenger from the bus. a small older woman, trying to get down the steep steps. The sun, reflecting off the shiny bless, glinted in Esperanza's eyes. She shaded them with her hand, trying to imagine what Miguel was talking about. For a moment, she thought she saw un fantasma, a ghost of Abuelitas walking toward her, with one arm reaching out to her and the other pressing on a wood cane. Esperanza, said the ghost. She heard Hortensia suck in her breath. Suddenly, Esperanza knew that her eyes were not deceiving her. Her throat tightened, and she felt as if she couldn't move. Abuelita came closer. She was small and wrinkled, with wisps of white hair falling out of her bun at the back of her head. Her clothes looked mussed from travel, but she had her same white lace handkerchief tucked into the sleeve of her dress, and her eyes brimmed with tears. Esperanza tried to say her name, but she couldn't. Her throat was cramping from her emotions. She could only reach out for her grandmother and bury her head in the familiar smell of face powder, garlic, and peppermint. Abuelita, Abuelita, she cried. Aquí estoy. I am here, mi nieta. How I've missed you. Esperanza rocked her back and forth, daring to believe that it was true, looking at her through tears to make sure she was not dreaming, and laughing finally, laughing and smiling and holding her hands. Then Hortensia and Alfonso took their turns. Esperanza looked at Miguel. How? She asked. I needed to have something to do while I waited for work, so I went for her. After they pulled into camp, they escorted Abuelita into their cabin, where they found Josefina,